Hello, my friend. What if a single record-breaking drought slashed U.S. oat and wheat yields by 20%, threatening the $13 billion breakfast cereal market, and putting General Mills' $3.5 billion cereal empire at risk overnight? That's the high-stakes reality behind every bowl of Cheerios and Wheaties you pour each morning. Market scale and General Mills' role. The U.S. breakfast cereal aisle is a $13 billion industry, and General Mills commands roughly 27% of that market, translating to about $3.5 billion in annual retail revenue. Iconic brands like Cheerios, the best-selling cold cereal by volume, and Wheaties, the breakfast of champions, fill millions of breakfast bowls each week. Beyond volume, these brands anchor General Mills' investor community, fueling R&D into nutritional upgrades and packaging innovations. Yet such scale also means any disruption, whether in raw ingredients, processing capacity, or consumer preferences, can send shockwaves through supply chains and shareholder reports alike. From family breakfasts in Des Moines to airline snack carts, GM's cereal production is woven into America's daily routine. From this commanding market position, let's shift to the raw material pressures GM faces. Climate shocks and grain supply conflicts. Cheerios relies on milled oats, while Wheaties demands hard red winter wheat. Both grains thrive under specific conditions. Oats prefer cool, moisture-retentive soils, and wheat needs chill during dormancy and steady spring rains. Yet climate volatility, prolonged droughts, unseasonable frosts, and heat waves upends that balance. In 2022, the Great Plains endured a 120-day dry spell, driving oat yields down 20% and forcing mills to import Canadian oats at a 25% premium. Similarly, a late March frost in Kansas cut wheat seedling survival by 15%, constraining mill intake and pushing commodity prices up. Growers who counted on historical weather patterns now face staggering financial risk. When fields go dry or freeze during bloom, the loss ripples through grain elevators, processing plants, and retail aisles, highlighting how climate change isn't a future threat, but today's headline. Next, we'll examine how the divide between large and small farms compounds these challenges. Farmer divide and technology gaps. Not all grain operations are equally prepared for climate risk. Mega farms in North Dakota and Nebraska have center pivot irrigation systems, soil moisture sensors, and grain drying towers, tools that reclaim 40% of applied water and stabilize yields. In contrast, many family-owned farms averaging 300 acres rely on rain-fed practices or outdated sprinklers, losing as much as 30% of water to evaporation. This technology gap isn't just about yield. It dictates who can meet General Mills' strict quality specs, test weight, kernel color, moisture threshold, and who gets locked out of contracts when supplies tighten. Without cooperative networks or low-interest financing, smallholders struggle to invest in precision tools, threatening rural livelihoods and reducing acreage available for vital cereals. From farmland to factory floor, now let's look at processing and packaging choke points. Processing and packaging challenges. GM's flake lines in Fridley, MN and Buffalo, NY operate 24/7 during peak season, milling raw oats or wheat into flake flats, toasting them to crispness, and seasoning. And each line processes 4,000 kiloliters of grain per hour. Yet any equipment downtime, say a clogged roller or toasted flake jam, costs up to $12,000 an hour in idle machinery and surplus grain backups. Once flakes exit to ovens, they feed into packaging machines that box 150 cartons per minute in multi-layer cartons with plastic liners to guarantee a 5-month shelf life. These liners, however, frustrate recycling goals and drive up packaging costs by 10%. Balancing throughput with sustainability and reliability demands constant vigilance, and any misstep risks line stoppages, product recalls, or missed sales forecasts. In response, General Mills invests heavily in innovation. Let's explore the crop science breakthroughs next. Crop innovation breakthroughs. To strengthen supply, GM collaborates with USDA and land-grant universities to develop next-gen cereals. Enter Sunshield Oats, a deep-rooted variety that maintains 85% yields under 25% reduced irrigation trials. And rust-guard wheat, bred for resistance to stem and stripe rust, reducing fungicide applications by 60% in field tests. These innovations are already seeded across 50,000 acres, giving growers a tangible hedge against climate and disease pressures. Drone-monitored breeding plots evaluate thousands of lines each season, accelerating trait selection. This crop science not only safeguards yield, but also aligns with stricter sustainability metrics, allowing GM to market cereals with enhanced resilience credentials. From gene labs to the field, the next frontier is precision ag and soil health. Precision agriculture and soil health. Precision ag technology transforms cereal farming. Soil moisture probes at 10 miller intervals log hourly moisture, geo-tagged for contour irrigation. Center pivot systems, linked to on-farm AI platforms, deliver water only to parched root zones, cutting irrigation use by 40%, while boosting uniform germination. UAVs equipped with multispectral cameras detect early fungal stress or nitrogen deficits, triggering targeted foliar treatments. Between cereal seasons, growers plant cover crops, clover, mustard, and radish, to rebuild organic matter, suppress weeds, and reduce erosion by 30%. Think fields lush with green tilth after harvest, not bare dirt, worms and microbial life teeming just below the surface. These practices enhance long-term productivity, cutting synthetic fertilizer demands by 25% and fortifying soils against climate extremes. Turning to the consumer end, sustainability and transparency are equally vital. Sustainability commitments and traceability. General Mills has committed to 30% reduction in greenhouse gas intensity by 2030, deploying on-site solar arrays at major mills and funding regenerative ag pilot programs across contract farms. On retail shelves, GM introduces CerealTrack QR codes on Cheerio and Wheaties boxes, linking each package to farm GPS coordinates, seed lineage, harvest date, and mill batch details, offering full field-to-bowl transparency. Early consumer surveys show 75% of shoppers feel more confident buying cereals with traceable origin. Meanwhile, GM piloted monoplastic liners in cardboard cartons, achieving 90% curbside recyclability and slashing packaging weight by 15%, a critical step towards circular economy targets. Before we wrap up, let's highlight evolving consumer drivers and cooperative models. Consumer trends, cooperative models, and call to action. Health-conscious consumers demand whole grain content, lower sugar, under 6 grams per serving, and functional ingredients, driving GM to expand into high-fiber, protein-fortified cereal lines. Retailers now require non-GMO and no artificial colors or flavors, prompting ongoing formula tweaks at a 10% cost premium. To support small growers, GM partners with grain cooperatives, providing low-interest loans for precision tools and shared drying facilities, ensuring all farms can meet quality specs and share in cereal category growth. From climate-resilient seeds and precision irrigation to regenerative soils, traceable packaging, and consumer-driven reformulation, General Mills is reshaping breakfast for a volatile world. Which innovation, drought-tolerant grains, precision ag sensors, or CerealTrack traceability, would you pilot on your farm or in your mill? Comment below. What surprised you most about the $13 billion cereal story? Drop your insights below, like if you learned something new, and subscribe to AGRI 360X, airing daily at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. for your next deep dive into agricultural innovation.